our last Browns topic before we pivot over to some Guardians and some Cavaliers. You guys have heard us talk about FanDuel a lot, which is America's #1 sportsbook. It is undisputed, and now FanDuel has a little something different for you guys. Starting today through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. In the game against the Vikings on Saturday, despite the starters not playing.
By the way, this game was awful. I mean, it was unwatchable.
It was bad.
Did you force yourself to watch it?
I watched most of it. I finally shut it off.
I was having dinner at a friend's house, and we had the game on, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awful.
It's
Get me to the regular season, please.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was a little surprised Mike Hall Jr. played, I'm going to be honest. He practiced the day after the arrest, and he got injured with a stinger, hadn't practiced the rest of the week. He played 25 snaps in this game, did have a QB hit, showed off some pretty impressive interior pass rush moves in his 25 snaps. Were you guys surprised at Mike Hall playing in this game, or did you expect it? I just wasn't expecting it, and then when I saw him in uniform playing 25 snaps, it kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Jason,
I think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad look that he was back in the building the next day and on the practice field. I think it's a bad look that he was in the game. You have to let due process play out. You have to let the legal process play out. I get that. But you also have to be sensitive to the allegations against him, and I think there's a way to just set him aside until you get a little bit more information. And you're not necessarily condemning him. You're not taking money from him. He's still getting checks. But you're not acting as if nothing happened either. And the Browns are acting as if nothing happened.
Right.
And I think that's a terrible – given the history of where this franchise has been and what they've been through and how they were the first to rush in and sign Kareem Hunt after his problems, and to his credit, he was a fine citizen in his time here. But they were the first one to rush in, and it was a different regime, but they were still #1. And then the Deshaun thing. And if you want to go all the way back to the Jim Brown thing, the history of this franchise and the way that it has the history that it has in treatment of women, and now to just run him back out there the very next day and act like nothing happened, I think is a terrible look.
Not to mention a lot of shenanigans that were going on in the front office.
Oh, I've heard all the stories. Yeah.
You know, in previous regimes. I think what we're learning, the Browns in particular, and just in general in the NFL, for the most part, teams don't care about a bad look anymore. Because
what's it going to cost them?
It cost them nothing.
Yeah.
When the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, people were like, this looks terrible, you're going to lose fans. None of that happened. Even if you lose a handful of fans, it's a non-factor. The teams, if it's not going to cost the owner money, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
I'm not saying none of the owners do. There's probably some that do. But this all started kind of with the Ray Rice thing, right?
Yeah.
And there was outrage in the video, and it seemed like everybody was on the same page with the outrage on Ray Rice. And eventually the Ravens were forced to move on, and then he
never played another snap.
Blackballed from the league, right? But ever since then, I mean, the Kareem Hunt thing was the next big one, I guess, really. And when the Browns signed him, it's just like now teams don't care. They don't care about signing bad guys because there's some bad guys on every team. Most of the fans don't care. They don't. I go back to when the Cubs traded for Aroldis Chapman. I used to be someone who was like, I don't want bad guys on my team. And slowly over the years, I've kind of been worn down, and I'm like, I just got to separate the player from the person, right? I don't have to like Aroldis Chapman. When the Cubs traded for Aroldis Chapman, I was like, ugh. But then I was like, well, he's damn good. He
throws 101.
We haven't won a World Series in my life. I'd like to win one. We all compromise.
Yeah.
Most people do. And so what Mike Hall is accused of is despicable. I wouldn't want to be friends with the guy if what he did was true. If I was an owner of a football team, I wouldn't want him on my team necessarily. But the reality is that if the Browns cut him or did whatever, so they don't care about those things. Now, My first thought was the same as you. What a terrible look to put him right back on the field and pretend nothing happened.
Yeah.
Why not at least sit him for a week? Let the air clear a little bit. Teams just don't care. And half the fan base, and this is not the Browns, this is every fan base in America, at least half, will make excuses, will apologize.
Oh, I got emails after the Mike Hall thing.
Yeah.
And like, well, how do you know it's true? Police reports lie all the time. I'm like, guys, there's marks on her arms. You think she like drug herself across the concrete? You think she ran over and punched holes in the door after he left?
Obviously, you never know unless you're there, 100% certain what happened. It seems pretty obvious that at least part of what has been reported is true.
Yeah.
At least part.
Right.
Some fans just don't care.
There was another witness there. The mother was there.
Yeah.
Like,
everybody's lying. There's all conspiracy theories. We've reached a place in society where nobody trusts anything.
that's true.
And everybody's got their own conspiracy theories. I believe whatever I believe. Facts be damned. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
And this is in all aspects of life. It's unfortunate. And that's where we're at with all these situations.
But you're right in that. I'll take it back to the stadium.
Yeah.
Teams are now building stadiums without allowing fans to vote.
Right.
And they're just doing it.
Right.
They're getting states to issue bonds.
Right.
And they're just doing whatever the hell they want. And
Yeah.
and fans have no say in it.
That's right.
And it's a terrible look.
Yeah.
And they don't
They don't
care. They're
care.
just going to keep doing it.
No,
Because
what are they gonna do?
what's a bad look mean? What's it mean? What's it mean? What's it going to cost you?
Exactly. That's it.
Are
There's
people still going to show up? People are still going to show up.
Nothing changes. If the Browns are going to build this brand new stadium, the state will end up paying for whatever it pays for it. The people that currently sit in the upper deck, they're gone.
Yeah.
None of those people can be able to afford to go. It's only you're going to have to be rich to be able to go to games.
I hope that they do something to where fans who've been going to games for their entire life.
There'll be a little.
I
but-
hope that there's at least a place for them if they do this. I hope there's a place for them. And
Right,
we're getting
but
way off
no
topic
matter
now.
what, there's almost nothing the Browns could do that would turn off enough people. And again,
I'll
it's not
tell
just
you-
the Browns. It's pretty much any team.
The Deshaun thing was close. I've heard from more people who cannot root for the Browns now.
They're
Or
all full of crap.
I don't know.
Jason,
I don't know.
they're only
they
saying
still
that-
watch. They
Right.
watch, but they're not as passionate because of the situation.
I think most of them are lying.
I don't know. I'm not saying
And-
all. I'm not even saying
Yeah.
most. I'm saying there is a segment of the fan base that is so disgusted that they signed Deshaun that it's just not the same.
But they
for them
weren't
anymore.
disgusted about Kareem Hunt?
I don't know. I'm just telling you. I've heard from
I-
I've heard from them over Deshaun way more than Kareem.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that obviously there are some people, but most of those people, it's easier now because he's played like crap to say, oh, I don't want him.
Right.
If Deshaun Watson plays great this year, nobody's
All
going
that
to
goes
care.
away. All it goes away.
It all goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
And if anyone mentions anything, oh, shut up! How
Shut up.
dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Look how long ago that was.
And this is not just here. Again, the Steelers fans, they ignored Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
He was a piece of garbage.
Yep. There'll be a statue of Ben.
Of course.
Just like there's the statue of Kobe. I mean,
You ignore those guys. The same Browns fans that were killing the Steelers for Ben Roethlisberger are now defending Deshaun Watson.
yeah.
And the same Steeler fans that are killing Deshaun Watson were defending Ben Roethlisberger. We're all hypocrites. Not all, but most of us are hypocrites when it comes to our team. It's that simple. Be honest about it at least. Mike?
Yeah, no, I think it's all fair points. I just wasn't expecting him to play, and then when I saw him on my screen, I'm like,
Yeah.
he's playing. I'm a little surprised by that, but I think your point of, at the end of the day, these teams, they know a bad look doesn't impact their bottom line
No.
whatsoever. It's becoming more and more common, and I don't think that trend's going to get bucked anytime soon.
NFL owners, for the most part, there probably are a few exceptions, care about number one, making money, number two, winning. Everything else is an afterthought, pretty much.
And by the way, to your Chapman point,
Yeah.
did anyone care about the Chapman stuff when the Cubs won a World Series?
I'm sure there were some fans that were disgusted by it.
A 0.5% of the fan base,
Not
maybe,
even.
maybe 1%
Not
at
even.
tops. Exactly.
I didn't like rooting for him. I didn't like it, but I did. Because I wanted them to win.
Winning cures all.
That's it.
If you win,
Yeah.
this is going to
I
sound
was
terrible.
I was fine that they let him walk after that.
What if Chapman had been terrible? What if What if he blows the World Series?
Which he did.
Which he almost did.
Yeah.
What if it didn't work? How would you have felt about Chapman?
I don't think I would have felt any differently.
Really?
I would have.
Because I think the anger and the
sold
vitriol
our souls.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
And it didn't even work out.
And that's why,
Yes.
because Deshaun hasn't been quite yet
That's
what
right.
they expected, it makes it worse. It makes you angrier.
It
if
does,
you're in
yes.
that camp,
No doubt.
it makes the vitriol even sting more.
You think things are bad now. If Deshaun Watson has a terrible season this year, because if he has a bad season this year, we're thinking about quarterbacks in the draft next year.
Yeah.
100%.
He's got 2 years left.
If that happens,
After that.
it's everybody. This
Now
is the worst.
now it's an
especially if you add in Baker. If Baker has for the first time has good back-to-back seasons.
Yep. Now you're trying to
could
come
get
up with
ugly.
an exit strategy of how to get out of the
Yep.
contract.
Could be ugly in
Let's
these
hope it
streets
doesn't
if
get
that
to
happens.
that. Go ahead, Mike.
You guys ready to talk a little Guardians?
No.
No. Well,
sucked.
they suck.
Well,
this
we're going
week.
to talk a little Guardians.
Yeah.
If you want it, you could go back and check out the Ultimate Guardian show this morning. So, Bull, you did a show with Zach.
Yeah.
We're going to rehash some of those same thoughts here, but